Packard Bell Legend 410 CD. Where is it? When working on this project, I was reminded of the ship of Theseus. A philosophical question. When you're replacing parts, well, in that case, a ship, replacing part by part, at what point does it stop being the original and be something new entirely? So that is a question I have about this. How I would like to think about it is, you're doing a house renovation down to the studs. And so in my case, I think I'll just keep calling it a Legend 410 CD. So this was actually our family's first computer, purchased back in 1995. It's been with us ever since. First computer, if you don't count the TRS-80 Model 1, that was a hand-me-down that nobody knew how to use. So yeah, 21 and a half years it's been with me, and well, I think I've upgraded it to the point where it's as much as it can, basically. I can tell you in this video where it came from and what it has now. And actually, we still have the original, although it's really right here. Yeah, it's kind of banged up. It's been through a lot. But as you can see right here, we have an originally, it's 75 megahertz Pentium processor, 1.2 gig hard drive, 8 megs of RAM, upgradable to 72. We'll see about that. The level 2 multimedia specifications, the PCI local video bus. It's a 5430, I think. Cirrus Logic. Oh yeah, 14.4K modem with sound card is the same. Quad speed CD-ROM drive. And there's it has an MPEG-1, yes. So, and Windows 95. So yeah, kind of worse for wear, but it's, wow. Well, it has been gone through a lot. So I'll tell you what it has in here now, and what it had in the, in the past too. What we have is an Evergreen Spectra 400. It's a upgrade, yeah, of course, the socket 5 to socket 7. AMD K62, 400 megahertz. Let's see. So when we first got this 4 years later, I did the first CPU upgrade on this, which is actually a weird one, which I've never seen anything else online about. Is this Evergreen Spectra 233. Everything that I've seen about the Spectra 233 says it's an IDT Win chip. This is not. And they said everything after it was an AMD K62. Well, in this case, it's actually a Pentium MMX 233. And it looks different from the other ones that I've seen online as well. I can't find. But I mean, I got this original, and or back in 1999, original owner. So obviously that was a thing. That was actually then put into another machine later on, where it switched processors. For a time it had this Pentium 120, and then it went back to this 233, and now we have this 400. I really wanted to put in a, here we have this K63, because, well, yeah, motherboard does not have any L2 cache. This has on-die L2 cache. Unfortunately, when trying to boot up, it always freezes. It would never go to the point where it's trying to load an OS. Don't know why. Somebody else had that same problem. I've read online. So this computer really hates L2 cache. Let me backtrack a bit. I will tell you what the original parts are. the case, obviously, and the motherboard. And strangely enough, if we could get that, yeah, the battery is still original. Yeah, it's that's 21.5 years. Clock is still completely fine, and it's holding on to the settings. Floppy drive is original, and I think the floppy cable. Yeah, everything else besides that is all changed out. What next? Memory. Yeah, 8 megs on board, and there were no additional sticks in here. Well, no, you're not seeing it. There are 4 sticks of 32. So that means I have 136. So that 72 meg limit, well, it's false. And I can't do anything with the L2 cache where it can't cache anything because there isn't anything. I don't know if there's a performance hit, whatever, but with the OS that I have in here, it's making use of it. So that's okay. That's a fine thing. Onboard Graphics, not anymore, although it doesn't want to disable. Windows still detects it. What I've read online, it says that it should disable if you pop in a new video card, but no, that doesn't seem to happen, although this does work. It's an ATI Radeon 7000, yes, 32 megs of RAM. It's a PCI, of course. Actually works on here. It doesn't give me a huge performance, but it does allow me to pop this thing in the 16:9 mode and get the higher resolutions. That all works, so that's okay. I have a Promise SATA 2150 TX2 PCI SATA/IDE controller. Oh, and we do have a SATA drive. Okay. So, yeah, that's put in there for SATA and IDE. I have, well, there's only 2 PCI slots to use, and if you use 2 PCI slots, you can only use 2 IDE, or what am I talking about, ISA. So I have a 3COM and the 3C509 ISA. That's what I can do for networking. I can't pop in a 100 megabit PCI because both of those slots are filled. And Sound Blaster 16 CT4520, and that just recognized by Windows. That's completely fine. So those are all of the available slots are filled. Power supply was still working. I was just goofing around with trying to get see if what video cards I can use and if it would be pulling more power. I didn't want to like possibly pop in a video card even if it didn't work and have like half of the power draw just to the video card and risking low voltages everywhere else. This is just an ATX, probably from an OEM system somewhere. It has the ATX to AT adapter put on there. Bestec, I don't know, came from somewhere. It works. It's fan is very quiet. It's not pushing a lot of air, nor does it need to, because this is not shouldn't be drawing too much, I would imagine. As I said, original floppy drive, that still works. Never even did any maintenance on it. It's but no problem. You're not going to be able to see it. Maybe. So SATA hard drive, not just a SATA hard drive. It's actually an SSD. Yeah. So probably waste, but you know, there's no hard drive noise, and it's probably the fastest this machine will ever, fastest hard drive that it will ever run. So might as well. This is probably the last stop on this. This is not going to get anything else newer. So might as well bump it up all the way. No more 4X CD. We have a DVD burner. Yeah, like it's going to use a burner. But you know, it does CDs and DVDs. I can burn CDs if I want to, and attempt to play DVDs, which I will show you shortly. Attempts. And lastly, a zip drive, because while everything else is being filled here, what other drive can I pop in this system? Might as well put a 100 megabyte zip drive in there, and have every slot, every bay filled with something useful, questionable. All right, now it's time to turn it on. Like I said, it doesn't disable the onboard video. I don't know why that is, but you know, at least it outputs to this. There are some video cards that, it didn't want to output to. There we go. We have this SATA. The DVD burner is connected to that. And then the last update thing is it doesn't have Windows 95. It's running Windows 2000. Now I was gonna just today I installed this for the probably last time. I was going back and forth, Windows 2000, Windows 95, no, not Windows 95, Windows 98. Windows 98 kept giving me blue screens, and I mean, Windows 2000 was giving me blue screens too, but I think that was video driver or some, I don't know. It's just, I found a combination that works, and I'm sticking with that. So really not much to show here. I can show you what the CPU ID is, CPU Z. And it takes a while. That's what I really wanted, that K63 to work. I mean, this Spectra 400. I mean, you can pop that chip off. And what's nice about this is, found it, is that it has the onboard voltage regulator, because you're not going to use 3.3, I think, that's coming off the board. And that's why there is the additional power going to it. It's the power for the CPU is coming directly from the power supply. Voltage regulation on the socket 5 to socket 7 adapter itself, and then it's just a standard socket 7 socket that it converts to. But those dip switch, those jumpers switch it either from 2.0 to the white one is 2.0 or 2.2 volts, whatever you need. And these 3 sets of 2, the various configurations, will give you the multiplier for the CPU. Right now it's at 6, and 66 megahertz bus times 6 is 398.2, close enough to 400, yeah. So I did try that. It's a 380 megahertz K63. I figured, K63 with L2 cache is better than 380 megahertz. K63 is better than a 400 megahertz K62 with no L2 cache, but whatever. Can't get that to work, but it does, you know, see everything there. Graphics Radeon 7000 with 32 megs. Firefox is installed. It's just want to, like I said, I just finished installing this stuff on it. Might want to see if I can get higher versions of stuff, but it's not like I'm going to be browsing the internet with this thing. One last thing, I can play maybe a bit of that. Because I can show you attempting it. This thing was it's, you know, MPEG-1 that it could do that. Well, MPEG-2 even with everything upgraded, and there's no way I can get an MPEG-2 card in there. But again, like, I'm actually going to be watching DVDs on here. It's just figuring out, you know, what's the best that this can show. You know, what is the weirdest stuff I can do on a 21-year-old machine. I don't know. Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know. Play part of this instead of showing a video? No. What in the world are you doing now? Oh, well. Okay. Well, as you can see too, it's just choppy and, oh, there we go. And that's about it. So anyway, is it a Packard Bell Legend 410 CD? I don't know, you tell me. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.